Hi, I'm Tim. This is the third in a series of lessons that will help you learn to play blues guitar. In this lesson, you'll learn some classic blues riffs that you can try over the 12-bar blues progression that we played in Lesson 1. Riffs are musical phrases that can be used to add character and give a rhythmic backing or groove to a song. They usually have a melody and help reinforce the chord progression. Riffs also give the song a more distinctive character than simply strumming chords. The first riff we're going to learn is a very recognizable blues riff that goes like this. This riff has been used in countless blues songs, and also in many rock songs. It goes back to the early days of the blues. The first known recording of the riff was in a song by Bo Diddley called I'm a Man, made in the 1950s. Then Muddy Waters played the same riff in a cover version of Bo Diddley's song that he retitled Mannish Boy. You've probably heard versions of this riff in many other songs too. We'll start with a simple version of it, playing all the notes on the 5th string. Play an open A on the 5th string. Next, play D with your 3rd finger on the 5th fret of that string. Then play C with your 1st finger on the 3rd fret of the same string. Finish the riff with an open 5th string again. Let's play it using a shuffle rhythm. Pick the first note with an upstroke. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. When Muddy Waters plays the riff on Mannish Boy, he plays a slightly different version with an A between the D and C. It sounds like this. Start by playing an open A on the downstroke. Then up to the 5th fret for the D on the upstroke. Play the open A again on the downstroke. Then play C on the 3rd fret with an upstroke. And finish with open A again on the downstroke. Play it together with me, starting with the downstroke. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. Last time. We've been playing the riff as you'd play it over the A7 or 1 chord of the 12-bar blues in the key of A. You can play the same riff over the D7 or 4 chord of the 12-bar blues. Just move it up to the 4th string like this. The same riff played on the 6th string works over the E7 or 5 chord of the 12-bar blues. If you want, you can add some rhythm to the basic riff by playing a 1-string shuffle rhythm on the open string between each repeat of the riff, like this. If you want to make the riff sound even more bluesy, you can bend the note a little bit on the 3rd fret when you play it like this. In the play section of this lesson, you can try playing this riff in all of the different ways we've learned over the 12-bar blues in A. The next riff we'll learn is a classic blues shuffle bass line. It sounds like this. This riff is often played by the bass player. Sometimes the guitar will play the same line along with the bass. This is called doubling the line. To play this riff, start by playing the root A with your first finger on the 5th fret of the 6th string. Then play A an octave above with your 3rd finger on the 7th fret of the 4th string. Next, play G below the octave A with your first finger on the 5th fret of the 4th string. Finally, place your 3rd finger on the 7th fret of the 5th string to play E. Let's play the riff with straight quarter note downstrokes, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can also give this riff a shuffle feel like this. Now let's use that picking feel on the riff. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, we've been playing the riff as you'd play it over the A7 or 1 chord of the 12-bar blues in the key of A. For the D7 or 4 chord, move the whole riff up 1 string so that you start playing on the 5th fret of the 5th string like this. And to play over the E7 or 5 chord, play on the same strings as the D7, but move up 2 frets, so your first finger starts on the E of the 7th fret of the 5th string, like this. When you play this riff with the band in the play chapter of this lesson, concentrate on playing exactly in time with the bass, so it sounds like only one instrument is playing the line. The last riff we'll learn is another classic blues riff that uses both chords and melody together. It sounds like this. This is often called a boogie riff because it imitates the boogie-woogie style of piano playing that was popular in the early 20th century. In particular, it comes from the left-hand piano part of that style. This riff quickly found its way into guitar-based blues and then became the foundation for many swing jazz tunes in the 1930s and 40s. Later, the boogie feel was used in many early rock and roll and country songs. One of the cool things about the boogie riff is that you can play it faster for a happier, more up sound like this. Or play it slower for a more relaxed or melancholy feel like this. To play the boogie riff, start with your first finger at the 2nd fret of the 4th string. Strum the 5th and 4th strings for an open A chord and try not to play any of the other strings. While holding your first finger in place, put your 3rd finger on the 4th fret of the 4th string. Now let's play the chord and the moving line back and forth, like this. The boogie riff is usually played with a shuffle eighths feel, but instead of playing it using the down, up picking pattern we used before, let's try playing it with all downstrokes, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. An important part of getting the right sound for this riff is to mute the strings a little with the side of your palm as you play. To mute using your palm, lay the side of your strumming hand very lightly over the strings, near the bridge, and keep it there as you play the riff. It should sound like this. And if you take your palm off the strings again, it'll sound like this. This technique is called palm muting, and it might take some practice for you to get used to it. When you're palm muting, you don't want to push down too hard, or the strings will sound too muted like this. So just use a light touch. Now let's play the Boogie riff in shuffle eighths rhythm using all downstrokes and the palm muting technique we've learned. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've been playing this riff over the A, or 1 chord. Now let's move it to the D, or 4 chord. Start with your first finger at the 2nd fret on the 3rd string, making sure your finger doesn't touch the 4th string. Strum down on the 4th and 3rd string to make a D chord, like this. To add the moving line, place your 3rd finger on the 4th fret of the 3rd string, like this. Let's try the whole riff in D, played with all downstrokes and the palm muted shuffle rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. Finally, for the Boogie riff over the E, or 5 chord, you can play the riff the same way, but just play it based on the 6th string, E. Put your first finger at the 2nd fret and leave the 6th string, E, open. Now to add the moving line, use your 3rd finger on the 4th fret of the 5th string. Let's give that a try. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can try these riffs along with the exercises in the practice chapter of this lesson. When you're ready to play the riffs with the band, check out the songs in the play chapter. There's one for each riff. Have fun. Let's start by practicing the simple version of the riff on an A chord using an up-down strumming pattern. 1, 2, 3, up, down, 2, 3, up, down, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. You can add the bend to the note on the 3rd fret of the 5th string. First, just practice bending the note. When you fret the note, pull the string down just a little as you pick it. When you feel comfortable bending the 5th string this way, you can try it with the riff. Let's try it on A. 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. Now let's try playing over the 12-bar blues progression in A. When the progression moves to the D7 chord, play the riff on the 4th string. And when the progression moves to the E7 chord, play on the 6th string. Start on A. 1, 2, 3. Now let's add the open A between D and C. 1, 2, 3. Try not to let the last note of the riff ring for too long. You can keep it from ringing by laying the fingers of your fretting hand on the strings at the end of the riff each time, like this. Let's try playing the riff over the 12-bar blues, starting on A. 1, 2, 3. Now you can try adding the open string shuffle rhythm in between each time you play the riff. Let's try it with just the A chord a few times. 1, 2, 3. Before we play the blues bass line riff, let's practice muting the strings between each note for a tighter sound. Start with your first finger laying on the 6th string at the 5th fret without pushing down, and play the shuffle rhythm. Then, if you push down only when you pick, and quickly let your fretting finger up after you play a note, you can tighten up the sound like this. Play it with me on just that one note. See if you can use that technique while playing the riff with the shuffle 8ths rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's try the whole thing over the 12-bar blues progression. What we've been playing goes over the 1 chord, A. Over the D chord is the same thing, starting on the 5th string. And over the E chord is the same as the D, but moved up to start on the E at the 7th fret. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's start the boogie riff by just playing even quarter notes to get the back and forth melody motion going. Start with your first finger at the 2nd fret of the 4th string and strum the 5th and 4th strings for an A chord. For the melody, add your 3rd finger on the 4th fret of the 4th string. Let's play that back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next, let's practice the downstroke shuffle rhythm on the open 5th string A chord. Get your strumming hand ready to mute the strings a little by laying the side of your hand lightly on the strings close to the bridge. Now add the moving line with the 3rd finger. Now you're ready to put it all together and play the Boogie blues riff over the 12-bar blues in A. 1, 2, 3, 4.